GJA was formed on 15th of August 1949, and then we launched the anniversary 3 months ago. We were honored to have a former piece of communications to this occasion. And we are also here to extend a special invitation to the former president, who's a paid-up member of our association. We all know that the spikes are out and the race is on for election 2020. Former president has started his campaign, and we know that the transparency and fairness of elections are not determined on what happens on the D-Day. All the processes should meet acceptable standards. And the media have an indispensable role to play to ensure that the elections are conducted freely and fairly, and the outcome is also acceptable to whoever wins or whoever loses. They said that a coming event has their shadows, but we are disinclined to believe that the series of attacks against journalists will be repeated in the election year. We have a responsibility to ensure that we are fair to all the candidates, all the participants. We don't want a repeat of the Georgian experience. It's happened in Georgia. The opposition party refused to accept the election result because they blamed the media for being unfair to them. We don't want to go that way. So the media community have a responsibility to give fair, accurate, balanced reportage to all the political parties. It is our godly, it is our professional, and it is our constitutional right and mandate to do just that. You know, some of us belong to so many parties, but as far as the elections are concerned, we should, in fairness to our profession and integrity, in fairness to our motherland, we should not allow our partisan interests to dictate what we should do. The addition to professionalism is what is demanded and what is expected of every journalist in this country. For our parts, on the parts of the GJA, we have signed an MOU with the US Embassy, which enables us to go around the country to do training in electoral journalism. UNDP is also helping us to sharpen the skills of journalists in electoral journalism. But it's not enough for journalists to be trained in electoral journalism. What is most expected of them is the deeds of will and a commitment to professionalism to ensure that we pass the test in 2020.
We've come a long way over these 70 years. And for us, even with recent memory of the work of the GJA, starting from the fight against the culture of silence, which led to the 1992, drawing up of the 1992 Constitution, which I believe is still one of the best constitutions Ghana has ever had. And for the first time, Chapter 12 of the Constitution dealt extensively with issues of media freedom and independence of the media. It included quite revolutionary clauses that had never existed in past constitutions. Considering the fact that we're coming from a period of unconstitutional rule, getting the provisions of Chapter 12 implemented were an uphill struggle, and the GJA had to fight, and we all know various confrontations that occurred between the GJA and the authorities at the time. The challenges have not ended, and I believe that as we fight battles, new battles are ahead of us to be fought. And sometimes those battles are even more challenging than the previous battles we have been involved in. Technology is changing, and it's changing the face of our profession. Indeed, before you had the rotary press, you put your paper inside, you just, rolled it manually, and then you got your newspapers and they were on the newsstand. Today, the media landscape has changed completely. I was privileged to be communications minister at the time the technology of convergence began to occur and making telecoms, broadcasting, data all come together. And at the time, we could foresee that it will have big impact on the way journalism is practiced going forward. Today we're right in that period, the digital media era. And we need to do continuous professional training of our journalists. One, to get cognizant with the way technology is going and how we can make the best of it in respect of the profession that we are in. And then two, to look at issues of content, with this new media that exists. Immediately what comes to mind is fake news. There's a lot of fake news now. Sometimes you see a story and, it's attributed to you, you never said anything like that, but some online portal will just push it out, and before you see it's gone viral and everybody is talking about it. So those are all things that are coming up that make it difficult to discern the truth. Now we're in the era of alternative facts, and you don't know which the facts are, because to every story there are alternative facts. And so it makes our profession more challenging than it was in the good old days, when we went to training school. And that's why I think that continuous training should take place. But we have new dangers that face journalists. You talked about assault of journalists, and I believe it must be condemned in any shape or form. Journalists need to be protected to do their work, because they are the eyes and ears of society, and they report on what is going on so that our people are abreast with developments, within their nation or their society or communities. And so molesting of journalists should be condemned totally, and I stand with you. And as a member of the profession myself, I don't condone it at all. And anytime it occurs, we'll condemn it, we'll not stand for it. But recently, there have been some cases, that even though I've heard the GJA's voice, I think that we cannot condemn those things enough. Several journalists have been afraid for their lives because of some stories they've covered. Immediately who comes to mind is a nurse, after he did the chapter number 12 story. He came under incessant attacks, he and his collaborators. And indeed, one of his collaborators paid the ultimate price by being assassinated. Up to now, we don't yet know exactly who was responsible. But definitely, there's no doubt that whatever happened had to do with the work, that he was engaged in this profession. Recently, our brother Manasseh had to flee the country for fear of his life, and there's another journalist in the Upper East region who also did a story and had to flee from the region for a while, because he was afraid that he would be attacked. These are totally unacceptable. And I believe that the association should continue. We fought to open the media space so that our people can express themselves freely. There has occurred under this government a situation where the law is deliberately used to shut down dissenting stations. And it is unfortunate. If you look at the pattern of the stations that have been closed using the law, they are all pro-NDC stations. And I think it's a very bad precedent, because I pray that it doesn't happen in future, that the shoe is reversed and some other government comes and shuts down stations that are pro-opposition. And I believe that GJA cannot but condemn this, in the highest terms. The law is just being used. I mean, the stations have appealed to the electronic tribunal. Somehow they managed to get the judge to resign. Government has refused to appoint a new judge to adjudicate the case deliberately, just so that they can keep the stations closed. It's totally unacceptable. But I just want to caution the NCA, the way they're going, the way technology is going, a time will come when you don't need the NCA, you don't need the frequency. And they're going to force stations to, you know, bypass the NCA, because if I don't use a frequency, I don't need you to give me a frequency to broadcast. And that technology is coming. You just need the digital DTT platform, and you put your station on, and it will go. And so they need to be careful how they, you know, use the law to oppress dissenting voices. And I think that the DJ should be heard loud and clear when it comes to this issue. As the issue of mercenary journalism, people take money to push a certain story and all that. These are part of the things that are against our ethics, and I think that we must be applying those ethics, you know, when we see that our members have, you know, committed any infraction. Electoral disputes are a major cause of conflict in our part of the world, and so getting elections right, making sure that they are transparent and have integrity, and that people are prepared to accept the results because they feel they've been treated fairly, is something that we must all advocate for. If you lose an election and you believe that it was free and fair, you don't have any cause to cause confusion. But if you think that you were cheated, then sometimes emotions can run high. Remember what happened in Cote d'Ivoire and the civil war that took place there after the election between President Ouattara and President Gbagbo. I pray that nothing like that ever happens in Ghana. Ghanaian democracy has matured, and with professional associations like your civil society organizations, traditional rulers, religious leaders, all advocating, you know, for a level playing field and a peaceful environment, I believe that Ghana would transcend any election that we have. But we will continue to advocate, you know, for a level playing field. And so sometimes when you hear us in altercations with the Electoral Commission, it's just because we want to be sure that they do the right thing, so that when elections are held, all of us can believe that they've been transparent and they've been free and fair. We remember what happened in Ayawaso West Ogun. I pray that God forbids that nothing like that ever happens again. But you know, the issue of vigilantes, you know, that especially one party is training. I remember at the time of Ayawaso West Ogun, there was a letter that came out, you know, asking some party executives to bring able-bodied people to be trained, you know, as security for that party during elections. Since then, we have evidence that those people are being sent to Asutari and trained in batches over and over again, you know, in all kinds of combat techniques and other things. You know, it's a worry that Ayawaso West Ogun will not repeat on a larger scale than it did. This was just a by-election. But the way things are going and with what we're hearing, it is possible that, you know, some sinister force is preparing to wreak violence during the elections, and so we think that that is something that we must continue to look at. I mean, to believe that government can say that an MP deserves to be slapped because he provoked a security officer, I mean, it's unconscionable, and I don't know by what moral code, you know, this judgment is being made, but it creates a very bad precedent for us. It means that, you know, anybody can be brutalized by a security officer if he believes that you have provoked him. Not even an MP is immune to, you know, brutality because he's alleged to have provoked a security officer. But we all saw the video. We saw and heard what he said. He didn't provoke anybody. But these are the times we live in, and I believe that we should all be worried about the direction in which we're going.